Greetings and welcome to Talk of the Bay for Tuesday, January 27th. I'm your host, George Cadman. On today's show, we're going to have a conversation with several guests on the history and future of the Catalyst in downtown Santa Cruz. GPR Ventures has submitted a pre-application to demolish the historic Catalyst nightclub at 1011 Pacific Avenue in Santa Cruz and replace it with a 7-story, 64-unit apartment complex. The project may include a new, smaller space for the Catalyst on the ground floor, currently under review by the city. And we're going to be talking about resistance to plans to demolish the Catalyst on today's show. And joining me today to talk about the resistance to plans to demolish the Catalyst, I have 3 guests. All are active with the Save the Catalyst Coalition, which has gathered over 10,000 signatures on a petition to save the Catalyst from demolition. David Bean began his professional career as a disc jockey, music director, and program director at KLRB FM in Carmel, California, and became the general manager of KZEN FM in Seaside, where Michael Nesmith listened and then decided to hire Bean, who ultimately became president of Nesmith's Pacific Arts Video Records. Bean left Pacific Arts to join acclaimed record producer Creed Taylor as president of his CTI Records label. After 4 years with CTI, David launched his own independent label, Beanbag One Entertainment, signing Jesse Colin Young among his clients. When music went online, David Bean became one of the earliest developers of music streaming, first at On Radio for The Vibe and Spin magazine websites, and then at Music Match, which sold to Yahoo. Mr. Bean is a past voting member of the Grammy organization, was executive director of the inaugural Monterey Film Festival, past member of the Monterey County Film Commission, and founding member of the KAZU FM Board of Directors. Hello. Welcome to the show, David Bean.
Hi, George. Thank you very much for that kind introduction.
Yes. Also joining me in the studio is Alyssa Pullen. She is a third-generation Santa Cruz local and owner of the Teahouse Spa in downtown Santa Cruz. She grew up on the west side, attended Westlake Mission Hill and Santa Cruz High School, and has deep roots in the local community. After college, Alyssa ran 7 Directions Institute of Art and Science, where she spent 11 years teaching and mentoring Santa Cruz youth. In 2022, she took over the Teahouse Spa, a downtown institution that has served the community for more than 30 years, and has since focused on creating a peaceful, elevated space for healing and restoration. She's here today because the proposed demolition of the Catalyst music venue would directly impact her business, her staff's livelihood, and dozens of other locally owned downtown businesses. Alyssa is speaking as both a small business owner and a lifelong community member concerned about the future of Santa Cruz's cultural and economic heart. Hello, Alyssa. Thank you for joining us on Talk of the Bay today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And also joining me in the studio is Hector Marin, who's going to have to introduce himself because I didn't get a bio for you, Hector, so if you could jump in.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, sorry about that on my part, George. My name is Hector Marin. I'm an educator within Santa Cruz City Schools. I'm an educator at Harbor High School. I'm also a local community organizer in Santa Cruz, and I've been living in Santa Cruz for the past 6 to 7 years. I'm also a local activist concerned around the issues of the future of our city and around the issues that are impacting local Santa Cruzians. Thank you so much for having me, George. Really appreciate you for hosting this amazing show at Squid.
Thank you, Hector. So let's start with the history of this whole situation. How did we get here? Is this absolutely happening? Because I know you want to stop it, but is it already in motion? And ultimately, what is the plan?
Yeah. So with what's going on right now is that there's a current proposal where they are seeking to demolish the Catalyst and they want to replace it, which by they, I mean the city, along with the developers. They want to build a 7 to 8 story, all luxury, 100% market rate apartment. Below that, they want to place another renovational aspect of the Catalyst. But even then, that comes into question the sustainability, whether the Catalyst can actually remain there with the current noise ordinances that are being upheld within the city. So GPR Ventures is trying to create this luxury apartment, something that, in my opinion, won't house local Santa Cruzians, and it's not affordable for local Santa Cruzians. This current proposal is in the pre-application phase, so nothing is set in stone yet at all whatsoever. Nothing has been approved by neither the Planning Commission nor the City Council. So right now, it is pivotal for us to get involved so we can let our city council and our local governments know that the Catalyst and the building itself is an important cultural asset to our community.
So let me see if I understand. There is a proposal from a developer to build this 7-story, mostly apartment complex, 64-unit apartment complex that would then demolish the Catalyst and perhaps the Teahouse as well, because it shares a wall with the Catalyst. But this is all under review by the city. This hasn't been approved yet, so there's still an opportunity to stop it.
Yes, correct. It's in the pre-application phase. No formal application has been completed. It's in the pre-application phase, and nothing has been set in stone.
Okay. Now, I mentioned in my introduction that the Save the Catalyst Coalition has gathered over 10,000 signatures on a petition to stop the demolition of the Catalyst. Are you still gathering signatures on that?
Yes, of course. Yeah. We're still gathering supporters. We're still gathering as much supporters as we can. We hope to present this petition in the first city council meeting of February, so we can let the city council know that local Santa Cruzans and folks who have spent money in Santa Cruz want to see the Catalyst here, that we want to preserve it.
And how can people sign that petition if they haven't already and they're interested in signing that?
Yeah, they can go into change.org/Save the Catalyst, or they can go into Google and they can search Save the Catalyst change.org petition, and it'll be the first link that appears through there.
Okay. And you have a group that's meeting regularly to oppose the demolition of the Catalyst, right? You've
Yes.
Save the Save the Catalyst Coalition. How can people get involved in that group if they want to go beyond signing a petition?
Yeah, of course, they can plug in with us. We have an email, savethecatalyst@gmail.com. We also have an Instagram handle at Save the Catalyst, and a Facebook group, Save the Catalyst in Facebook. And we have a meeting tomorrow via Zoom. So folks want to join in, they can also reach out at the towards the savethecatalyst@gmail.com email if they want to receive that link to organize with us. This is a grassroots effort that is being led by the community.
Okay, and I do want to get into the history, David Bean, and all the reasons why you folks want to save the Catalyst and the rest of the Save the Catalyst Coalition. But I do want to turn to Alyssa now and just ask you about, you stated that the demolition of the Catalyst would directly impact your business, your staff, and other locally owned downtown businesses. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. So our physical building, the Teahouse Spa in downtown Santa Cruz, is physically bolted to the Catalyst. They are our back wall, and we have a historic bamboo garden in the back that's private, and all the rooms overlook the garden, and the back wall of the garden is the side wall of the Catalyst. So if the demolition does go through, we would be completely exposed, and then with all the dust, pile drivers, all the construction noises, be forced to close. And also I'm curious how their demolition process, how they intend to ensure that small businesses would be safe to continue business during the demolition process.
So would your business have to temporarily close or permanent?
What they're proposing is a 7-storied mixed-use, primarily residential space behind the spa, and all of our rooms overlook the back wall, and so privacy would be out the window.
You'd have to close.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would kind of destroy your
exactly
the peace of the place. So have you spoken with other business owners around there? Are they also concerned?
We've reached out. I feel like the biggest concern is every event and every show that the Catalyst has brings in hundreds, if not thousands, of guests to downtown Santa Cruz. And so they're paying for parking, they're paying for drinks, they're spending money at restaurants and all the shops downtown when they come into town for a show. And so the ripple effect that this will have will be detrimental for downtown.
What about the claim from the developer that they are potentially reserving some space for a new music venue on the ground floor of this 64-unit, 7-story building that it would be a smaller space than the Catalyst, but they're saying they could incorporate it into this larger development? What would be your response to that? And each one of you can answer that if you like. And Alyssa, go ahead if you're ready.
Of course. I don't know any successful music venue that has housing located directly above it. Again, like Hector mentioned, these aren't low income. They're not affordable housing. These are luxury apartments, and there's no technology that will stop the noise from getting from the music venue to the apartments.
Except maybe an entire floor set aside with full soundproofing.
Which is
like that.
Maybe an option. I don't see that
Probably
located
not.
in their plans. And so it feels like they are claiming that they're saving the catalyst by making the space for a music venue, and then after a noise complaint from a tenant, essentially it'll lead to shutting down the catalyst.
We're telling them they can't have amplified music, or
right, or quiet hours after 8 p.m. or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And so it's not going to be for families. It's not going to be anybody for kids, and just the noise under a living quarters doesn't make sense. And so it seems like they're appeasing Santa Cruz by saying they're saving the catalyst because they've made a space for it. And then after a noise complaint, they'll change it to retail or whatever commercial space.
So how about David or Hector, do you want to speak to this kind of counter argument? There could be a smaller music venue in the ground floor of this new proposed building.
Well, I just want to add to that. Not only will there be sound from the club, but I'm again came to speak to the history because I started going to the Catalyst about 2 years after Randall Kane first bought the Catalyst in 1969. And my memory and experience with the Catalyst is that there's people back in the back parking lot outside the Catalyst. There's people in the front lined up to get in the Catalyst or just hanging out from the Catalyst. So I'm afraid for luxury apartments, the noise interference and human interference is going to be even beyond just the sound down in the club. It's a cultural space that encompasses the back, the front, and the inside.
Mm-hmm. And Hector?
Yeah, and I also wanted to add in that there are noise ordinances that have been amended into the city council in terms of the noises that can be conducted of public spaces, and they are very strict in the essence that when it comes to loud music, they put restrictions on that. They put a restriction on Curtis Relaford, the amazing civil rights activist that always blasts the amazing music.
You hear him going by, and you turn, and there he is, and his
exactly,
big old thing for gathering donations for Native Americans.
Yeah, and it's a positive thing, and yet the city council has restricted the noise ordinances so much more so to a point where you cannot conduct such loud noises in public spaces during certain hours. So even if that were to pass, even if the GPR Ventures wants to manage that whole entire thing and they quote unquote save the catalyst in that effort, it's not going to be sustainable and it's not going to be consistent with the current noise ordinances that the city currently has. Thereby, they'll close the catalyst in the process if they build those luxury apartments on top of that. 1011 Pacific Avenue itself, like the building is very historic. There's a lot of historicity behind it, and 1011 Pacific itself, which is where the Catalyst and where the local Teahouse Spa is, meets all the requirements for historical preservation, cultural designation, landmark, and that's the goal that we want to achieve with this campaign initiative.
I want to talk a little bit, if you don't mind, about some of the ideas that you have for opposing the demolition of the Catalyst. I don't know if the Save the Catalyst Coalition is trying to keep some of that stuff up your sleeve until a certain time. If it's something you don't want to talk about on air publicly yet, that's fine. But what are some of the strategies, if you can answer the question, to oppose this so far that you've come up with?
Yeah, so far we're talking to council members. I'm not at the discretion to say which council members, but we have received a positive rapport with them, a lot of positive meetings with them, and a good reception in terms of our campaign initiative and our concerns that we are bringing to them in terms of making the Catalyst into a historical preservation landmark and how the demolition can affect local Santa Cruzans.
So unless you have something else that I'm missing, I'm going to open the phone lines up. Hector?
Yeah, just one last thing. In terms of strategy, we're also reaching out towards constituents, towards local Santa Cruzans. We're getting folks involved in that capacity. Right now, we're educating them via social media. We've garnered 300,000 views online in terms of the awareness of the Catalyst potentially closing down and us seeking to save it. So we're involving the community and we're building as much awareness as we can. There are several venues that we also want to explore. There's a voter initiative venue that we're definitely exploring in order to get wet signatures so we can bring this matter directly to the people. So there are definitely several...
What is a wet signature?
Wet signatures as in city residents signing an official city document that states that they want to put this into a ballot, and you can make a historical preservation landmark via ballot initiative. So we're also exploring that strategy as well.
To get it on the ballot.
To get it on the ballot, for sure.
How many signatures does that require?
That requires like 5,000.
Only
just registered city voters. We've received 10,000 in less than 3 weeks via online. So we can definitely meet that criteria.
All right, so you're exploring getting it on the ballot locally to get it declared a historic landmark?
Yes, precisely.
Oh, okay. And what is the criteria for getting something declared a historic landmark?
Yeah, so it's 3. It's via age. So the first one is age. The actual building itself has to be more than 50 years old. The Catalyst meets that requirement in being 55 years old. Second one is art. It has to be an artistic venue. The Catalyst is obviously a concert venue and a venue for public performances, so it obviously meets that. And the third one is a regular communal gathering of people. Regularly, the Catalyst conjoins hundreds and even thousands of people together on a weekly basis and brings a major economy towards the local businesses throughout the downtown.
So the Catalyst meets all the requirements. You just need to get the
Precisely.
signatures and get it on the ballot and then work on getting people to vote for it.
Yes.
So you mentioned social media. Where is the presence for the Save the Catalyst Coalition on social media? On Instagram? You're on X? What are the various?
So we're mainly on Facebook and Instagram. So at Save the Catalyst on Instagram, and also we are on Facebook. There's a Facebook group, Save the Catalyst. In terms of folks wanting to join in, they're more than welcome to join in and to be more up to date.
Okay, so I want to get into. We've already made some arguments as to why to save the Catalyst. We've made quite a few. You've made quite a few here, but I do want to get into more of that. And David, perhaps we can have you speaking more to the history of it and the meaning of it in our community. But I do want to let folks know that you can start calling in now at 831-900-5773 if you have a comment or a question. You have a comment about the plans to demolish the Catalyst or a question for any one of my 3 guests. But the reasons, and I don't know who wants to start, okay? It could be you, Alyssa, or David. Other than how it affects your business, Alyssa, maybe you could start with why save the Catalyst? I mean, it obviously affects you directly and affects your staff directly. Right. But beyond that, what are some of the reasons that you have?
Again, I'm a 3rd-generation local Santa Cruz, born and raised here on the west side, and I feel like Santa Cruz is losing its culture. Santa Cruz is losing reasons to go downtown. It used to be free parking. We used to, in high school, walk around and go to shows, and there was purpose to downtown. And I feel like you walk downtown now, and it's vacancy after vacancy in commercial spaces. And there's not necessarily that draw in the Catalyst. I mean, I'm biased because I do have a small business next to the Catalyst, but take that out of the picture. The Catalyst brings hundreds and thousands of new people to downtown Santa Cruz every week. And we don't have anything else of that stature in downtown. We've got the Santa Cruz Warriors now at the end of downtown. But even that, I feel like people are going to the far ends of downtown and they're not in the middle and necessarily enjoying what downtown has to offer. And I feel like...
And Catalyst is kind of in the heart of downtown.
It's in the heart of downtown. And if we lose the Catalyst, I feel like that's a nail in the coffin. And we're just watching development after development of these high-rise housing developments going in. And so far, it seems like the majority of them do have some low-income options, some affordable housing, even if it is market rate. This development doesn't make sense because it's luxury apartments. And you're putting luxury apartments in the middle of downtown and removing a huge piece, a huge part of the heart of downtown. And so it just doesn't make sense. I understand that there is a housing crisis, and I understand that those needs have to be met. I don't think that this proposed project is that answer.
It could be a situation where these luxury apartments are purchased and then vacant most of the time because they're second homes. We do have a caller, and I want to bring them into the conversation. Hello, caller, you're on the air.
Hi, yes. The city talks a lot about wanting a vibrant downtown, and yet, they propose this demolition of a vital and historic venue for music. It's ridiculous. They're counting on this Warriors new Warriors Arena, and all the focus is going to be on that part of town, the south of Laurel downtown expansion. And, they want to make it into an entertainment district. And yet we have an entertainment district downtown now. We have the Catalyst, we've got the Kumba Jazz Center, Civic Auditorium, other venues, and, they should, treasure what we have, because it does bring people in from other communities in the Bay Area and beyond. And so it's really, we do need to save it. I don't know if the building is, it might be really expensive to restore it. I don't know.
Probably not as expensive as building a 7-story, 64-unit luxury condo building, but...
Right. Well, there's certain, there's economics that I'm not aware of, but that's all my comment is that, if they want a vibrant downtown, they shouldn't do this.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your call. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks. Did any one of you want to respond to the last caller, or did it make you think of something you wanted to say?
Yeah, it made me think how when it comes to a concert venue in the next few years, say if the Catalyst closes down, if push comes to shove, God forbid that occur, in 2028. Say if that occurs in 2028, there is no concert venue that can hold the same capacity that the Catalyst does concurrently, because at the same time the Warriors Stadium will also be reconstructed at around that same time, and then the Vets Hall. Yeah, we do have the Vets Hall, but the Vets Hall doesn't have the capacity to attract and to gather thousands of people at the same time with its current.
Talk about an old building.
Oh yeah. Talk about an old building, right? But in terms of repairs, in terms of renovations, that's something that can be done with the current Catalyst building. And if the Catalyst is closed down, yeah, the Warrior Stadium is right there, but even then, the Warrior Stadium is going to be under reconstruction because of the new stadium that they are receiving, thanks to the huge handout that the city council gave to the Warriors and to the private developers with the downtown expansion plan and the South of Laurel project.
Just want to, David.
Well, and the Warriors Stadium will be occasionally used, whereas the Catalyst runs every weekend consistently. But you've talked about bringing people in from out of town, and also the Catalyst has served thousands of local people. People have grown up here with the Catalyst. The Catalyst has introduced music and culture to locals as well as people from out of town. And the Warriors Auditorium Stadium is not going to run like that. It's not going to be an every weekend event like the Catalyst is. So it won't serve the community. It will be a big loss not having that in our community.
Yeah. We do have another caller, and I want to bring them on. Hello, caller, you're on the air with my guest on Talk of the Bay. We're talking about the proposed demolition of the Catalyst. Do you have a comment?
Okay, first of all, we need to keep this culture, because I lived in the Teahouse apartments for 10 years, and I've seen it removed, taken away, and if they take away the heart, that is so sad. And Alyssa is over here trying to protect the culture with the Teahouse and the Teahouse apartments. And if you haven't signed that petition, you have to. I'm just you cannot remove the Catalyst. This is the heart of Santa Cruz, and that's my comment.
What is your personal history with the Catalyst? If you could speak a little bit to that, caller.
What has been your shows 3 times a week and just seeing everything, so many different artists of all genres. It's what made it great and inspired so much music, and to remove that and put it on under a 7-story building where the second story is just going to be annoyed and no one's going to want to live there, that's not going to work.
Well, thank you for your call. I appreciate it. And we'll get a response from the folks here in the studio. Thank you. So does anybody want to speak to our caller's comments?
Seems like that should go to Alyssa.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
He's been a tenant of ours for the past 10 years, and I feel like that's why people want to live downtown, is because of the culture and because they can attend 3 shows a week, and they can walk to restaurants and bars, and they can enjoy all that downtown has to offer. And you take that away, and all of a sudden now it's just high-rise apartments, and it's turning in more towards Silicon Valley and downtown San Jose than Santa Cruz, and that's what we're aiming to preserve.
Okay, I want to remind listeners this is Talk of the Bay, and my guests are David Bean, Hector Marin, and Alyssa Pullen, and you're welcome to call in at 831-900-5773 if you have a question or a comment, 831-900-5773, and it doesn't matter if you're not in the area, because there's a lot of folks who care about the Catalyst who don't live here in Santa Cruz, and perhaps that's something one of you can address. You have folks outside of the area that have signed on to the petition, people over in San Jose who come over to the Catalyst for shows, people who live up in the San Lorenzo Valley but come down to attend shows at the Catalyst. So can you talk about some of the things you've heard from folks who aren't in Santa Cruz, who are very concerned about this proposed demolition?
Yeah, of course. I do have several friends who went to UC Santa Cruz, and even they're concerned about the Catalyst being demolished. There are so many cherished memories that the Catalyst holds concurrently, and even there are folks that I've talked to who met their significant other at the Catalyst. So if you demolish that, you take away those potential experiences that future people can have, and that local Santa Cruzans can have, and not only local Santa Cruzans, but also people throughout the world. People internationally travel to the Catalyst so they can gather music, and so they can so they can see their favorite artists, so they can see their favorite comedian. And if we take that away, we're going to be taking away a vital asset that brings in so much sales revenue within the city, meaning that there can be less social services for local Santa Cruzians, meaning that there can be less support for local businesses like the Teahouse Spa that also make downtown Santa Cruz such a special place. So we must ensure that we preserve these spaces, because it's not only a cultural hub that is important for Santa Cruz, it's a cultural hub that is very important throughout our nation and throughout California.
Did David or Alyssa want to speak to that before we take the next call?
Well, I'd just like to add to that with the mention of somebody meeting their spouse there. It's introduced me to music beyond what I could have found without it, but also what it's done for the community. It's a meeting place. It's where couples hook up. It's a place where you go to meet other people of similar taste in terms of music or culture, or meeting place at a club, that kind of club. It was always served the community so well, and it would be a crime to lose it.
All right, we have another caller, and I want to bring you on the air. Hello, caller. Do you have a question or a comment regarding the proposed demolition of the Catalyst?
I do. I was here in Santa Cruz for the original Catalyst before Randall came, and I would like to hear what David Bean has to say about the history of the Catalyst.
All righty.
Well, I would invite you to add to it, because I came here right after '69 when Randall bought it, and I met Randall, and I want to address that Randall was the right guy in the right time. He was kind of disheveled. He hung out at the bar. He was very social. He made it, the Catalyst reflected him and the community. To use the word hippie is way limiting, but it was a cultural thing. People talk about Santa Cruz being a really particular place. There's a gentleman who's on the air here who says, Squid is the type of radio station Santa Cruz deserves. I mean, this is a place that needs special attention, and that's what the Catalyst was starting from the very beginning. And Randall added to that. He was the right guy in the right place, and the Catalyst was so hip and so cool back in those early days. But before Randall took over, I mean, that's prior to '69, I wish I knew what it was like then.
And caller, did you want to say more, or?
No, I just wanted to hear more from David Bean.
All right. Well, thank you so much
You're
for
so kind.
helping
Thank you.
and redirecting to David for the history. Thank you. And I want to let folks know you can also join the conversation, 831-900-5773, 831-900-5773. I'm talking with three folks who are active with the Save the Catalyst Coalition, Hector Marin, David Bean, and Alyssa Pullen. And we have another caller. Hello, you're on the air. Talk of the Bay. Hello?
Hello.
Do you have a question or a comment?
Yes, I do. I've been here for 35 years in town, and I used to go to the Catalyst when they had, they had artists that were local. They had artists that were interesting. I haven't been there in probably 20 years since Michael Hedges played there. But, I mean, it's to talk about the, sort of the degradation of the Catalyst. It has not been kept up. It has not been managed well. The venue and the artists that they bring in now are rare, honestly, or very small and not very well attended. And I think if someone wanted to come in and revitalize the Catalyst, that would be great. But to save it, just to save it, doesn't seem to me to be worth the effort unless they were going to change it and bring it back to something that it could be. But it hasn't been anything that I feel really reflects Santa Cruz in a very long time.
Thank you for your call. Let's get a response from my guest. Thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So anybody want to respond? David?
Yeah, I
okay.
think, number one, that's a really interesting call, and thank you for it. I've been going there since the last millennium. So, but generationally, it's changed. I mean, when I went there and saw Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, or John Hall and Oates, Daryl Hall and John Oates, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was a time and a place where I was of the age, and it hit right in my heart, and it was all part of my life. Now it doesn't resonate so much with me, but I think it resonates with the college kids, is what I'm seeing happening there. EDM, rave, rap, music that wasn't my generation at the time, but I'm assuming and thinking and hoping that it's really a generation of today that gets reflected at the Catalyst, and that's always been their market. Let's say it's 18 to 35 is their core market.
Okay, and in either one of you, Hector or Alyssa?
Yeah, I wanted to add in that, like, the Catalyst is also a rite of passage. Like, even when I went to UCSC, I lived downtown, and the first show that I attended was one at the Catalyst with JID, with JID and Earth Gang, and there were thousands of awesome, young students out there, young people out there conjoining together and celebrating the music that the Catalyst brought. So the Catalyst more so serves as a rite of passage in which UCSC and Cabrillo students and the youth in its entirety can be introduced to the wonderful, amazing culture that Santa Cruz has. So I do hear those concerns. It costs much less to repair and to upgrade the current concert venue of the Catalyst, and it's much more cost effective in order to do that. So when it comes to the current lack of maintenance, if we have repairments, if we have upgrades that can be done towards the venue, that can be a much more plausible method in which can be sustainable for everyone. And I also hear the concerns about management. The city can hire third-party management sponsors in order to effectively manage the Catalyst in a way that preserves it. So there is also that option that the city can do. They have done that prior with the Landmark Del Mar Theater. The Landmark Del Mar Theater was slated to be demolished and closed down, but then the city came through, and then they also hired a third-party management company which helped run its operations, and it's still running to this day. So the similar application, the similar solution can be done towards the Catalyst.
Thank you so much for those thoughtful responses. Alyssa, did you want to chime in? Or?
Yeah, just to echo what has already been said, and to add that even if we do deem the Catalyst as a historic and cultural landmark in Santa Cruz, the restoration can still take place. We can still make upgrades. We can still preserve what is happening. And like Hector mentioned, hire a third party to come in and revamp and just breathe new life into the Catalyst to keep it going.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We do have another caller. I want to bring them on. Hello, caller. You're on the air with Alyssa Pullen, David Bean, and Hector Marin. Do you have a comment or a question?
Rob Oliveros, founder of Santa Cruz Against Runaway Development, lifelong resident of Santa Cruz and former frequent patron of the Catalyst. And so from the outside looking in on this particular development and proposal, looks like it's going to be all the points that have been made are quite valid, but it seems like there's going to be a lot of moving parts. And what I mean by that is that on a lot of the things that we've been involved with, it's essentially two parties, the neighborhood that's being affected and the developer. Quite often that developer's been a workbench. And so This is a little bit different insofar as that you've got the developer, who is, my understanding, is in escrow for the property. You've got the what I believe is called the Kane Family Trust, who is obligated, has a fiduciary to get the best price for the property, and they obviously are were apparently able to do that with this particular developer. You've got the Catalyst business owner, whomever that may be, and the tenants there. There's three right there. You've got the city and its city council, and then you, of course, have got the outraged citizens. And so, again, from the outside looking in, it's going to take a lot, from my perspective, it's going to take a lot of coordination and a lot of hard work and a fair amount of compromise to save the Catalyst. As the previous caller said, in regards to the condition of the Catalyst, I hadn't been there in, I want to say, maybe 20 years. And I would agree with his assessment, is that to be kind, it's long in the tooth. And so those are some observations, and I'm not sure, how the opposition is kind of putting all those balls into play.
Well, let's get a response from the opposition. They're sitting right across from me.
And by the way, I'm in favor of the Save the Catalyst movement, and I do have a couple more observations.
Hey, hang on while we get a response, because
Very good. Very good. Yep.
Anybody want to chime in on this one?
Yeah, thank you so much, Rob, for raising these concerns. That's why we want to, it'll take a movement in order to save the Catalyst. And that's why we are calling, and even though we have a good committee and a good campaign team on the ground, that's grassroots, we want to get as many people involved as possible. So that's why, everything that Rob said is on point. It'll take, our community to save the Catalyst, and we can only do that via the grassroots. So for folks who want to get involved, please get involved. SaveTheCatalyst@gmail.com. If y'all want to get involved, please email us so y'all can join the committee to Save the Catalyst.
And you have weekly meetings or bi-weekly meetings?
Yes. We've had several meetings. Also, we do it via Zoom. We also do it via London Nelson. And if y'all sign up through that email, SaveTheCatalyst@gmail.com, we will sign you guys up so we can help involve everyone in the local political process to save the Catalyst and to save local businesses like the Teahouse Spa that brings so much energy towards our downtown.
Okay. We do have another caller, but this caller stated that he had a little more to say. Did you feel satisfied, or did you want to make another point?
Yeah, basically, in terms, it's my understanding that once it gets designated as a historical or cultural landmark, that kind of puts a certain amount of restrictions in terms of any types of upgrades. It's got to be maintained, my understanding, in a certain fashion.
Got it.
Now, basically, the Catalyst is an old building. As people may know, it used to be a bowling alley, and there, in order to do some, actual upgrades, you're talking about A, asbestos in the building, B, lead pipes, and so all I'm saying here is that my group posted the original post about the Catalyst being potentially demoed, and it got 91,000 views from across the Bay Area. I mean, it was just bonkers in terms of how many people responded and as people are saying, what it meant to them. And I do think it is a valuable endeavor to try to save the Catalyst.
But you're saying it's going to be complicated, basically.
Oh God, yes,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Got it.
I'm not trying to throw cold water on the effort. I'm just saying that in terms of what we've done in the past, it's like Party A and Party B, and it's pretty much straightforward, back and forth. This has got a lot of moving parts, not the least of which is the Catalyst business and the Kane family trust themselves.
Okay. Okay.
So
got it. Thank you so much for your call. Really appreciate it. So I actually have a question that the last caller made me think of. So what does the owner of the Catalyst have to say? And I'm assuming they don't own the property, or they do. Help me out, Hector.
Yes. So you have two different owners. You have like the landlord, and you also have the owner. So you have the person that leases the land, and you have the owner of the business.
Got it.
We've reached out to them several times in order to coordinate with them. We have not received a response.
It's hard to save the Catalyst
back.
if the owners of the Catalyst don't want it saved. So don't you need them on board?
Yes. But here's the thing: 10,000 supporters are stating that they want to see the Catalyst saved. 10,000 folks are saying that, including a majority of them being locals, that they want to see the Catalyst stay in Santa Cruz as is. So all respects to the owner and to their business and to their rights, but the community does have respect, and they do want to preserve the Catalyst in that way. And I believe we need to listen to those 10,000 voices, to those 10,000 people who want to help save the Catalyst. And the owner can be an amazing partner in coordinating those efforts, so we can help preserve the legacy that the owner has left for the community, a long-lasting impact, which is a positive for everyone.
So you've reached out to both the owner of the actual space and the Catalyst, who doesn't own the space but leases it, but you haven't gotten a response from either?
Yes, correct. We have gotten no response yet.
And when you contacted them, what were you putting forward to them? Were you inviting them to join the conversation? Were you showing them the 10,000 plus signatures? What kinds of things were you reaching out with?
Yeah, we were inviting them to a meeting. We wanted to meet up with them to see where they're at, to see what's their perspective on this in terms of how we can actualize this, but we haven't received any response back from them. In terms of making the Catalyst into a historical preservation landmark, that is something that the community can't put forward without the consent of the owner. Regardless of how the owner feels about it.
Yeah.
So,
and as Rob, was it Rob who was the last caller?
Yes, it was
He
Rob.
was saying that you would have to preserve the building to a degree as is, and that might not be realistic. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you can make repairings, and you can recover, and you can fully restore buildings like that with proper funding, with enough funding that the city can do through the application of state grants, through the application of federal grants. They can obtain that money in order to maintain it and upgrade it. If you demolish it completely 100%, that'll cost the city way more money in order to do that. And not only will it cost the city way more money, it's going to impact the foot traffic of people coming into downtown. People don't want to walk around a construction war zone.
Now, would it be the city demolishing it or the GSH Ventures once they've purchased it?
So it'll be both. So if the city approves this project, the city council first has to approve the project before the demolition can occur. So you need both parties in order to do that.
But the cost of it would fall to the developer, correct?
The cost of it will fall to the developer, and it'll also fall towards the city in and of itself in terms of generating foot traffic, in terms of bringing in prospect customers, in terms of revitalizing downtown and making and ensuring that we preserve the culture of downtown Santa Cruz and of Santa Cruz in general. It'll impact the local businesses and the profits that they make as a community.
Another point that Rob made was that the property is currently in escrow. I'm not somebody who knows much about real estate, but that sounds like it's on the way to being purchased by this developer. Is that accurate?
If the plans go through and the city approves the plans, then the contract to purchase the building will go through.
Okay.
Yeah, but right now it's in the pre-application process, and the city council does have the rights to reject that proposal, to reject that development, to listen to the will of the people in that regard.
Okay, I want to remind listeners that this is Talk of the Bay and that we are talking about the proposal to demolish the Catalyst and the GSH Ventures, which is apparently an escrow to purchase the property the Catalyst is sitting on, and their plans to put in a 7-story, 64-unit luxury condo building. And my guests are Alyssa Pullen. Again, she's the owner of the Teahouse Spa, Hector Marin, and David Bean, and they are all three active with the Save the Catalyst Coalition, which has gathered over 10,000 signatures on a petition to save the Catalyst from demolition. We have a caller, and I'm just putting you on the air, caller. You're on the air with my guest. Do you have a question or a comment?
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's like a city council meeting or any way to present comments to them.
Sounds like there's going to be one in February, correct, Hector?
Yeah, so the first city council meeting in February, we don't have the date yet, but we are hoping to present this petition during oral communications in the first city council meeting of February.
All right. Did that answer your question, Ray?
Well, yeah, that's it. One little comment, though.
Yeah.
I mean, this place has got to be safe, man. There's so much history there; it's just unbelievable. I've been here for 50 years now, and I've seen so many concerts there that I haven't been to one in probably 10 years. They're not playing the kind of music I listen to these days, but but all the kids who go there these days, that they're doing the same thing I did 40, 50 years ago, and we can't take that away from them. It's just crazy. I mean, I've seen Neil Young and George Thorogood and B.B. King and on and on and on, and the Cool Jerky.
George Clinton, the Melvins.
Yeah,
Ozo Motley. Oh my gosh, Ozo Motley was amazing at the Catalyst.
That is definitely an iconic spot there, and it deserves to stay there.
Thanks for your call, Ray. Appreciate it.
Thanks for being there, George.
Let's get a response from Alyssa. She's raising her hand.
There's also a big Zoom meeting this Thursday that the City of Santa Cruz, the Planning and Development Department, will be running along with the developers coming in. And they will share their proposed plans and accept feedback from the community as well.
Great. We'll announce all the stuff at the end. We have a few more minutes. At the very end, we're going to remind people how they can get involved, and we'll mention that a second time. David's raising his hand.
Well, it's a side point, but we have the owner of the property, which sounds like the Kane Foundation, and we have the people who are buying it, the contractor. But the management is really stuck in between. I don't want to defend the management at all, but if they know the building's going, they've probably stopped putting money into upkeep. I mean, they're caught in a bad.
It when it's selling.
They're going to lose it. Now, I don't know who that exactly is, but I understood it was a group maybe out of the Bay Area that's also booking Felton Music Hall and the Cali Roots event down at the Monterey Fairgrounds. So that's a out of town big music booking company. So I don't know how they play into this either. But that's
something
a question
to find out.
A question that raised in my mind.
So we're down to final comments. Hector, let's start with you, and then we'll go to David and Alyssa. I want you to make your pitch for Save the Catalyst. I want you to put out all the info that people can use to get involved if they're listening and they care. So we'll start with you.
Yes, of course. So we need all hands on deck in order to ensure that we save the Catalyst. So if folks want to get involved and if they want to join this movement, please join the movement. We need everybody to be involved. And you can hit us up at savethecatalyst@gmail.com. Savethecatalyst@gmail.com. In order to get further involved, we'll bring you on board and we'll make sure that you get involved and that you also help advocate for the cause to save the Catalyst. And most importantly, as Alyssa has stated, there is an important meeting this Thursday via Zoom at 6 p.m. This Thursday via Zoom with the developer, GPR Ventures. And it'll be imperative for all of us to show out and to tell these developers and to tell the city planning department that we want to not only save the Catalyst, but we also want to make sure that it's made into a historical preservation landmark and that we don't want this building demolished. We don't want this building demolished at all whatsoever, because we want to protect the cultural integrity of Santa Cruz. We want to make sure that we preserve the Santa Cruz that is, and that we do it for all Santa Cruzians, and that we offer that opportunity so we can all conjoin together around music, around the celebrations of community, and around the gatherings of happiness, because that's what the Catalyst represents for all of us. So this Thursday, please show out to this meeting via Zoom with the developer and with the planning division. It is via Zoom link, and I will post such information via the Instagram handle at Save the Catalyst and via Facebook so folks can show out. So please, for the community, show out this Thursday at this development meeting and call for the Catalyst to be both saved and to also vocalize our opposition against the demolition of 1011 Pacific Avenue.
And if people want to email you again, it's savethecatalyst@gmail.com. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And we are almost out of time, so I'm going to give David an opportunity and then Alyssa to you.
All I want to say is nobody has really addressed the facility itself. It's such a unique facility. It holds 1,000 people. It has bars in there. It serves food. It has pool upstairs. It has the little venue in the front. The facility,
the atrium.
You can't replicate it. That's my point. It's history. It's everything. But the facility is a perfect rock and roll hall for downtown Santa Cruz.
Well, yeah. Well said. Alyssa?
Yeah, just to echo and build off of what's been said already. I mean, it's so sad to walk downtown right now and just see all the empty commercial space, empty retail space. And if we get rid of the Catalyst, if they do demolish it and essentially say that they will put the Catalyst in on the bottom floor of a luxury apartment high-rise, it doesn't make sense. I understand the housing crisis. I understand the need to revamp the building, and I believe that all of that can be accomplished, but this current proposal is not it. What they're doing with the demolition would put us out of business. The ripple effects would put other small businesses, bars, restaurants, they won't have the income coming in, and they'll be forced to close as well.
So one last time, Hector, tell listeners how they can get involved in terms of contact. We got Facebook, Instagram, we got your email, you got your meetings. Just list it off real quick so people can take notes, and then we're going to have to close out.
Yeah, of course. The email is savethecatalyst@gmail.com if folks want to get involved. Savethecatalyst@gmail.com. Our Instagram handle is @SaveTheCatalyst. We also have a Facebook group. If you search up Save the Catalyst Facebook group, it'll be right there. And this is how folks can get involved.
Great. I want to thank all three of you so much for coming in. Thank you, Hector Marin. Thank you, David Bean. And thank you, Alyssa Pullen. Really appreciate you coming on to talk about this important issue. Thank you.
Thank you, George.
All right. That was Talk of the Bay for today, January 27th. Thanks for listening, and thank you for supporting your local community radio station, KSQD 90.7 FM, 89.5 and 89.7 FM in Prunedale, and online at ksqd.org.